In 1995, with the TriStar Studios buying the American rights to do a remake to Godzilla, Toho Studios decided it was time to retire the Heisei version of Godzilla, which had been running around since the Return of Godzilla in 1984. So they created a movie called Godzilla vs. Destroyah, where Godzilla was going to take on a creature that evolved from the oxygen destroyer from that was used to stop the creature in the 1954 original, as well as combining with the sea life to create somewhat of a crab monster that could suck out the oxygen off of beings in water and whatnot. So, what's so different about Godzilla in that movie? Well, what they did is they took Godzilla and went back to what happened to him in Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, where he got a massive dose of radiation. So, over the years, the radiation was building and building on him until the point he became what they call the Burning Godzilla, where he was on fire on the inside and he had parts of the body that glowed and with radiation and whatnot. So the thought was they had to figure out how to stop Godzilla, otherwise he was going to have a meltdown so massive he was going to destroy the Earth and the Earth was going to catch on fire. So I thought it was an interesting take on Godzilla. I thought it was an interesting design. So today we're going to take a look at the Burning Godzilla figures I have, the Bandai, the NECA, and we're going to compare the NECA with the regular design for Godzilla from that era. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So what's so different about him? Well, obviously, different color scheme. He's basically the same design Godzilla, but you know he's got a different. He's got the like burning, glowing color scheme. Like the way he's presented in the movie, as he's walking around, it's more like his body starts flashing, like glowing, like the light coming out through him. So what they did with at least the NECA figures, they made it like a translucent plastic. But yeah, it's a dynamic change with just the orange all around the figure, as opposed to like say the regular green, as you can see. And even with like subtle details like the eyes, like say the eyes glowing there, and the guy's like regular brown on that one. So it's a change. It's a little bit more dynamic than you would think, and it's kind of when I first saw it, it's kind of shocking to see it. Just the contrast. Of course, I didn't see it in a theater. I had to see it online in the very early days of the internet when it was just starting to come around, and you could actually get pictures from Japan or whatever. So it was a shock to the system to see like the design of a burning Godzilla. So, anyways, well, let's compare the two figures, the NECA and the Bandai. In the early 2000s, pretty much the only way you could get a Godzilla figure was through going to your comic store and hoping that they got an import shipment in, or going to an importer to have them imported in, and they weren't cheap. I have a few imports that I got for $40, $50 myself. So, that's how it was for a certain time until TriStar actually released the films from 1991 on home video, bringing about a renewed interest in Godzilla because obviously these are films you haven't seen, obviously. Well, with the exception of the theatrical release of Godzilla 2000. So there was a renewed interest, and Bandai USA started putting out figures around 2002, 2003. They could get it like Toys R Us or wherever. So when the 2014 remake came out, NECA decided to start coming into the fold. There he chose to put more articulation, more detail, more or less a cheaper version of the SH Monster Arts. But it's it's cheaper, yes, but quality is still pretty solid for a $20 figure. So let's compare and contrast the figures, shall we? So with the Bandai, we're gonna just take a quick look, and it's pretty much a straightforward design. The go with their Heisei Godzilla design, right, and just slap some orange paint on it. Articulation is very limited. You have one tail. Articulation doesn't move really that much. The foot goes round and round. Can't really put it in or out. And the arms spin back and forth, as well as the head rotation. So you have 1, 2, 3, 6 points of articulation. Now with the NECAs, you know how this is going to go, right? So jaw opens and closes. Head spins around. Neck spins around. Head goes up that far with the neck. Goes down that far with the neck. Diaphragm rotation. Diaphragm goes forward that far. Goes back that far. Arms go up that far. Shoulder rotation. Bicep rotation. Elbow rotation. Elbow goes back and forth that far. Wrist rotation, hand goes back and forth that far, and you have knuckle rotation, so you make a fist. Legs go forward and go all the way around. Can put legs out only that far and in that far. He has limited articulation at the knee. You can spin him around, but can't really bend the knee so far. And you have a ankle pivot, some back and forth. And now we get to the tail. That's always a fun part on the NECAs. Top part of the tail spins around. Second part of the tail spins around. Got the third part spins around on the tail. So 1, 2, 3. Plus you have the bendy wire on the tail, so you can bend the tail wherever you need to. So you could put the tail like that. You can take off the tail. Put a tail like that. And you can put the tail up. So yeah, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Has a lot of articulation compared to like the other. So that's what, as you know, I love the NECAs for that. So, yep, that's the articulation comparison. I'm going to use my controller to illustrate the point for the detail. So if you can see, it's got a little bit of translucentness to it. Looks like they used like translucent plastic, and obviously they just slapped some orange paint to make it look like he's on fire. So you know it is what it is, right? I can't really complain about the scales on it, on either one, because you know they put the scales on, but you know just that one has more of a natural feel. This just feels like sandpaper. And open up the mouth. As you can see, there's more detail to the NECA mouth than there is the Bandai mouth. And you know, I don't know. I think I might like the eyes on the Bandai a little bit better than the NECA eyes, but what do I know, right? So that's 1 point for Bandai. So but otherwise, they don't have they have more paint apps on that one than that one. And like I said, I like the foot detail a lot more on the NECAs than the Bandai. You know, just they take a lot more detail, obviously, with the NECAs than the Bandais. So you know there isn't really much. So you know there really isn't much comparison. It's always going to be the NECA is going to win before instead of the Bandai figure every time. Just the more detail, more articulation. I play with these a little bit more than I do the Bandais anymore, just because they're more pliable and you can put them wherever. So yeah, it's not to say you shouldn't collect a Bandai. you're a completionist like me, you're gonna want to get them. But if you're just looking for a Godzilla, just for show, you know, that's the NECA ones are the ones you want. And if you don't have, say, Monster Arts budget, the $20, well, the secondary market, they go a little higher. But if you can find one on the shelf, say your Toys R Us or wherever, for $20, snag it up. So yeah, that's my comparison is to the Bandai and the NECA Burning Godzilla. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I appreciate you guys wanting to watch the channel, watch my videos. As no budget as they are, I do appreciate even if this video just gets one view, I appreciate that more than it not getting a view. So yeah, thank you guys so much for letting me come into your homes and talk about ridiculous stuff like the Godzilla figure comparison. So yeah, we'll get to another video pretty soon. So thanks a lot.